What's up, guys? I wanted to do a video talking about the lack of top tier talent in NA esports and kind of the lack of seriousness and how just as a region we don't really establish dominance in any esports. I found it quite interesting. So some of the things I want to go into, like why is this? And I think a big part of it is just our culture in general. Like it's not really socially acceptable to be like a hardcore gamer. It's still kind of weird, even though gaming is becoming much more prevalent, especially I can't really speak for people like under 15, but definitely like my generation, like being hardcore gaming was pretty weird. So I think a big thing too is growing up with sports culture. Like a lot of people, at least in my area, people that I know, we were raised on sports. Like I started playing football at 7 years old. I played a season of baseball. My brother and sister both played soccer. He played football. She played volleyball. It was heavily pushed on us, and I think it is to a lot of kids. Like your parents want you to go out there and play this sport and be active and meet people, and the type of people that really crave this, they're gonna get into sports at a young age. If they're quite talented, they might stick with it. Especially if they hear they can get benefits from it later in life. College, you can get a scholarship, you can get on a college team. Playing in high school is really, really cool for people. You get jerseys, you get school recognition, you get the games people can come to, especially football players. It's always quite like a famous status, like, oh, you're on the football team, you have a jersey, like, they just feel badass, And just imagine if they had that for gaming, like imagine if a kid walked out of the locker room in the high school, whatever, with like a StarCraft jersey on or like a League of Legends jersey, like it would be totally crazy, and people would perceive the game differently because hey, there's someone that's like doing it as a sport, they're versing other schools, like oh, like he won like our region, whatever, oh, he can get a $30,000 scholarship just for playing StarCraft for that college, like it'd be crazy, but it's not at that level yet. So I think that's a bigger deal than people realize when it talks about just talented people in general and what sports they play, and even people that have the dreams of going pro in anything, what they're going to pursue, like say, I bet there are some kids that would have been really good at esports or something, but hey, they were probably really damn good at soccer or something and just decided to push that, and then go to college and pursue a real job, because they're motivated people, the type of people that do this, like, and the demographics, when I look at like Korea, like you can walk down the street and maybe you're not super in the games, but there's I've never been to Korea, but what I've seen is it looks like there's PC bungs everywhere. You know what I mean? Like you can easily go and sit down and play a game, and people are gonna want to go play games. Where out here in America, it's way more you drive around, you find a football field, you find a baseball field, you go hiking. Not that they're not active people, it's just that specific thing isn't seen as like a social thing to do, Like if I go to a bar and ask somebody like, oh, you should put on that CSGO TBS game, they'll be like, what the fuck, kid? Like, no, like this is a sports bar right here, we only do that real sports. I'm just like, alright, whatever. So there's also a huge learning curve in esports as well, Like I don't know what it's like to play football and like try to grind up, be like D1 or something. I played a bit of paintball. The learning curve felt pretty high, but once you kind of get coached by like a upper team, like you really figure out some key stuff that puts you ahead. And I feel like with sports, something that nothing talked about, and I think it was his Valve video, was he loved playing Counter-Strike because it didn't matter if they were bigger than him or older than him, because in the game we're all the same. And I really liked that, because when I played football, it sucked to be like a little shorter, a little slower than somebody, because some people would just dominate you. And yeah, they're athletic people, but you just be like, god damn, like I'm not a foot taller, so this guy's just going to smash me in this hamburger drill. And I think that's a big allure to esports, is that we get a mouse and a keyboard, like it makes us equal, and I like that. So it also does make the learning curve a little tough, and compared to sports, where I feel like a big thing is, your training regimen, how seriously you take that, how long you've been in the sport. Like most people, if you ask them, they'll understand watching a game of football or baseball or soccer, like they'll understand, but they're easy to follow, and the rules get pretty crazy. Like I don't really know a lot of rules for sports, honestly, but compared to like having someone come in and even just watching me play like StarCraft or something, they just see a bunch of colors and like characters moving around. Like you can't really follow it, you know. So just understanding the game and getting into it is very tough, you know. You can't just sit down and like watch an esport, you know. I mean, you can, but I feel like it's much more targeted to people who play the game and like understand it, you know, compared to like it's totally fine to just be drunk off your ass and not really play football, but to fucking love it and like watch it all the time, you know. But if I want to like try hard and go pro in a video game, it's a little like, dude, what are you doing? Like that's super weird, you know. So just a little interesting point. And so an analogy I wanted to go into would be like real life basketball and how that's like kind of taken seriously compared to like trying to take a team game seriously, like League of Legends or Counter-Strike or something. So I'm pretty sure if you play those games, you've all been there, you know, like somebody on your team, you know, isn't really trying as hard as you'd like them, you know. And I understand, like, it's kind of a weird thing to get mad at, you know, because it's just a game, but it's still my time, and, you know, I like to have a good game and, like, try. So when people don't really try or just, like, fuck up and, like, feed or something, or I don't even play League anymore, but more like Counter-Strike, like, just trying to buy deagles over and over, or, like go mid but not watch it, just, like, sit in a corner, and these things all seem pretty acceptable in gaming, you know. It's like, whatever, dude, I'm just having fun. It's just a game, bro. It's just a game. Like, we've all heard of that, right? And, I totally agree. Like, it's just a game. We should have fun, but is it so hard to, like, try and have fun at the same time? Like, I don't know why that's such a foreign topic. So to go into the basketball thing is, I feel like, you know, if you're playing, like, pick-up basketball at the park with a couple friends, you know, maybe like a 3v3 or like a 5v5, whatever, and you're kind of new and you're not too good, and you just like travel and like foul people and go for shots, you know, you can't really make, and you're just bad at passing and all this stuff, you know, you're probably going to get kicked off the court and asked to leave, and they're going to say, you know, like, you're ruining our game. And it'd be like, oh, you know, I totally understand, you know, like, these guys play basketball, like, it's okay, like, I'm bad at it, like, I'll play something else, you know, or I'll get good, whatever. And that's totally fine. It's like, oh yeah, dude, get good at basketball, like, it's badass to be good at basketball. But in gaming, it's totally not like this. And I think the basketball thing makes sense, too, because some of the people on your team, you know, they may have been playing basketball since they were little kids. These fundamentals are so easy for them. You know, they just understand the game already, and it really bothers them to play with people who don't, and they bring down the entire level of play instead of just elevating it or just keeping it at a good level. They just bring it down. And I feel like if this mentality was more present in esports, you know, it'd be a big reason why our ladders are seen as very poor practice. You know, Piglet did a recent interview I saw on the League of Legends forum, and even he said people on his team, he felt like he was playing with people. I think the quote was, they were just good enough to get someone to pay them to play the game, and that's like all they cared about. While he's saying, you know, I'd rather be broke and have a trophy than have money and like not be winning, you know. So there's a huge difference in mentality there from just the players of the game. Let's see if I can find something else to talk about. So we got basically the culture, you know, it's not too prevalent. You know, competition with major sports is just not a thing. You know, maybe games will change with how big it is, like with younger people, you know. Like the people that are below 15 now, when they're 20 and older, you know, maybe watching games will become more normal. Maybe Twitch will get like a TV channel or something, who knows, you know. But I think this is definitely a really interesting topic to talk about, and not a lot of people have really gone into it, so thank you for watching.